Another 3 a.m. stream, but at least this time it's Wednesday night, Thursday morning, so I'm not late for the Thursday night game, even though I bet you most of us will not be watching. I guess that's a lie. A lot of you have Jamar T, and DK, and Jalen in your fantasy lineups, so you're definitely going to be invested there. And probably one of those defenses. Probably both of those defenses. We shall see. If I yawn 30 times, it's just because. What time is? Jalen in your fantasy lineups. So you're definitely going to be invested there. And probably one of those defenses. Volume looked good to me. I kind of don't care. I'm just going to try to hurry up and get this done. So it's uploaded so everyone can see it in the morning. Because that's the new system. Stream essentially at this time. Watch the VOD in the morning. I'm just being real with you. This is the best my current schedule allows for me to do. It is what it is. So, as I write down, because I forgot to write down the week on here, count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hello everybody and welcome to week 7 of the 2025 NFL season and my prediction picks. I'm your host, The Cat, the one, the only, and you are on the Blind Canadian Cat YouTube channel. And if you happen to join live, welcome to the stream. If you're watching this, the after video in the next morning, good evening. Welcome. Another lovely day of me doing my picks at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll definitely pass over to 4 before I end this stream. It's the best I can do. And if you want to hear me yap for an hour, no other place to do it. But of course, you know the drill. We keep it very simple. And again, since it's mostly me talking to myself, minimal jokes, mostly analysis, mostly bias, lots of vibes. Anywho, recapping last week, bounced back from an awful week. We went 9-6 straight up. Spreads were still a little iffy. We went to 5-10 on the spreads, and then 7-8 on the totals. You win some, you lose some. Again, the NFL itself is still getting tricky to follow. I did snap a couple of obvious ones: Chicago plus 4.5, Miami plus 4.5. So I did snap some spreads, but ultimately, not a lot of games falling in my favor. But hey, we keep it positive, we keep it on the bright side, and we keep on moving. That brings my season totals through 1/3 of the season to 58-34 and the tie straight up, 46-47 against the spread, and 42-51 on the totals. Again, we're only a third of the way there, so plenty of time to get these numbers back up. And hopefully this week will get us on a great start. So let's get into it with my beloved Ravens on the bye week, and Lamar is slated to come back next week. Maybe there's hope for us, but at least I get to take this week off, not stressing about what these backups are going to do. And hey, Buffalo fans, maybe you can take some time to breathe after losing back-to-back primetime games. Breathe in, breathe out. So let's start off with our old versus old matchup on Thursday Night Football. Pittsburgh is going into Cincinnati taking on the Bengals. Flacco looked like Flacco for the Bengals. And I don't know what Cincy was expecting. I don't know what they thought trading for him was going to do. Veteran experience, maybe. Just, hey, let's not do dumb shit on purpose. I'm not sure what they were expecting. But it was a close game. They covered that 14.5 spread, which now makes me wonder again, is a double-digit spread theory in effect, or is Green Bay just not covering these spreads? I don't know what we're doing, Green Bay. I don't know what we're doing here. But it is what it is. But Pittsburgh on the road is a 5.5 point favorite with a total of 44.5. Now, Pittsburgh, sitting here at 4-1, it's one of those, like, do we take them seriously? Am I supposed to be moved? I mean, you're doing enough. You beat New England, forcing them into several thousand turnovers. But, like, what am I really supposed to get here from Pittsburgh? You beat up on Minnesota, you beat up on Cleveland. You lost to Seattle, so it's. I don't know if there really is a quote unquote quality win. I guess to give them credit for the New England game, but, like, New England shot themselves in the foot so many times. Is that you guys winning or them losing? Ooh. It's up for grabs for sure. It's up for grabs. I mean, Cincy has looked like hot garbage without Burrow, and I'm going to continue to assume they're going to be hot garbage without Burrow. So I'm not even going to bother wasting time. Give me Pittsburgh to win this game outright. Now that 5.5. If there's anything we've noticed these last couple of Thursday night games, a lot of these underdogs have seemed to have been pulling away. San Fran, with all their injuries, beat the Rams. New York took care of business against Philadelphia. Seattle and Arizona game was close. These games have been interesting. They have. And I think it's for that reason, mostly. Not necessarily for the teams themselves, but just the trend I'm noticing. We've had a lot of upsets in general. And I also think 5.5 is genuinely just a big number. I'm going to take Cincy plus 5.5 here. It's not my favorite bet. It's not my best bet. But I'm looking at patterns. I'm looking at what I'm seeing. And, you know, maybe with Flacco, Pittsburgh will be more tested than they were against Carson Wentz or Dylan Gabriel. The bar is low, obviously, but Thursday night seems to be the time freaky shit happens. So give me Cincy plus 5.5. Total game 44.5. I don't know what to expect from either offense at all. If Pittsburgh's going to eat Dylan Gabriel alive, then I got to imagine they're going to do the same thing with Kyo because of that O-line. And Pittsburgh doesn't really score a lot in general. I don't know where these points are going to come from. Because I'm not expecting to wake up, even if Pittsburgh wins and covers that spread, I'm not expecting them to win 31-17. Like, is it possible? Sure, but I just don't see it. And I know I've been bitten on these totals a couple times for TNF, but I just don't see it. Give me under 44.5. This feels like an ugly, messy game that you're going to tell yourself you're not going to tune into, but then you'll tune into it eventually, and you'll just be wondering what the hell's going on. Like a 16-13, 20-14, something like that, where it's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I don't expect this game to get to the 40s. So yeah, Pittsburgh to win. Cincy covers plus 5.5 on the spread, and give me under that 44.5. I don't think this will be a good game to watch, but hey, maybe it'd feel nice to see Flacco and Rodgers go on one last ride. I can't imagine either wanting to play after this season. I just can't. So enjoy it while you can. Next game, we have another London game because the NFL loves these international games. We have the Rams and the Jags. The Rams, a designated road team, are 3-point favorites, and the total's at 44.5. Now, Jacksonville, I wanted to give you praise, and I want to give you benefit of the doubt, but after beating Kansas City the way you did, you lay a dud against Seattle. So, I'm sitting here wondering what your deal is, what your plan is, how am I supposed to feel about you? How? Because after that dud, it's like, should I feel anything? Should I care? Because I'm kind of leaning no. I want to give you benefit of the doubt. but after that, it's hard to say. Now, the Rams will be interesting because the likelihood of them not having Puka Nakua is very likely. But that's why you bring in someone like Devontae Adams to be on the other side so he can step up. He can be wide receiver 1. They can make it work. And I think Devin Lloyd's also being ruled out for this Jags game, so down a person who I thought could be DPOI a week ago, so anything is possible for sure. But I gotta be honest, I'm not really sure which way to lean in this game. I mean, I guess if we're just going on the trend of just writing trends and writing vibes, Jacksonville has a weird thing of playing well in London. And with the Rams, if they're gonna legitimately be without Puka Nakua, it's not an impossible task, but like it just feels like it'll be a definite step down. And again, the Jags have some sort of aura boost, aura vibe thing they get when they go to London. So again, not necessarily a pick that I would bet myself in my parlay, but just for vibes and shit, give me the Jags to win this game. I think the Rams are due for a loss, especially with the way they looked against the Ravens last week. A London game against an out of conference opponent without your best wide receiver, I feel like this is the game they could drop. Jacksonville's got vibes. They need the bounce back. LA is on a hot streak, and without Puka, you can expect the likelihood of them dropping this game. So yeah, give me Jacksonville. Obviously, I'm going to take the +3. Total at 44.5. And again, I'm going with the Puka injury as the biggest factor here. With 44.5, I'm just going to go under that as well. It seems like the London games in general are just low scoring for the most part. So yeah, with that, I'm just going off the feelings. Give me the Jags to win, cover +3 as a quote-unquote home underdog, and give me under 44.5. This one you can expect to be like a 23-20. Alright, into the Sunday early slot. First one we have the Eagles in Minnesota, taking on the Vikings. Eagles, despite the dud they put up on Thursday night, are 2.5 point favorites on the road, and the total is at 43.5. I don't know. I don't remember the J.J. McCarthy situation, so I don't know if he was on IR, if they're just keeping him out a couple of weeks. But I haven't heard anything about a starter, so I'm going into this assuming Carson Wentz is a starter, which, hey, Carson Wentz against the Eagles. Should be fun for thematical purposes. Actually, shit, that's what I should have named this video, Carson Wentz versus his team, or some shit like that. Oh well, you do what you can. But yeah, I mean, based on the Chargers game alone, I would be more willing to give the Giants benefit of the doubt than the Vikings. So, I think Philly's fine. I think it's just, again, coaching and trying to figure out the system. I mean, if the system keeps falling out the way it does, I can't imagine the OC is going to be around for long. Philly's offense just hasn't been clicking in general. But yeah, I don't see any legitimate reason why Philadelphia should not win this game. Minnesota hasn't done anything to really grab my attention. So yeah, give me the Eagles to win this game. 2.5, I feel like that's easy. That's probably one of my favorite bets for particular parlay stuff. Eagles -2.5 on the road. Total's at 43.5. This one I don't know. Minnesota's had the bye week, so hopefully, players are rested, healthy. Hopefully Carson Wentz can figure something out to make things interesting. And Philly, even with all their struggles and woes, I gotta imagine they could find something here. 43.5, I think it's a very gettable number for these teams, especially if Philly's trying to find a get-right game. I feel like it's gettable. Give me the over here. I think they can get there. And again, it's a game with, Jalen Hurts with Saquon, AJ, and Devontae, and on the other side, there's Justin Jefferson and Devontae Adams. and Jordan Mason, who's been respectable since Dalvin Cook went down. Or not Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones. Dalvin Cook. I don't know where he is now. I don't even know. But yeah, I'll go over in that game. There's a lot of star power on the offensive side. I feel like somebody should figure something out. Next game we have the Panthers in New York taking on the Jets. Carolina, as a road team, is favored by 1.5, and the total in the game is at 42.5 points. Now, all signs point to Carolina should win this game, but it would be very on brand for Carolina and very on brand for New York too at this point if the Jets found a way to win this game. It's hard to give Carolina anything, and like we're appreciating some of the stuff we are getting from them now. I don't know if Dave Canales is figuring things out. I'm still not completely sold on Bryce Young, but he's finding ways in the second half of games to be around, be relevant. And granted, it is Dallas's defense, so we have to go with the assumption it's not much because Dallas's defense is bad. But this Jets team, I don't even know what to say or what to do. I guess give them credit for keeping it close with Denver, but then again, I want to root for Bo. I want to believe in Bo, but man, sometimes he makes it hard too. But yeah, at this point, I can't bet on New York ever. I can't do it. So for that, not comfortably, but just because I'd rather go down with this ship than the other ship. Give me Carolina. Spread's at 1.5. You just grab it. There is no point in debating that. Total at 42.5. I don't know what I'm going to get from the Jets offense. Carolina only scores 30 against shitty defenses, which is crazy, considering what Atlanta did to Josh Allen. But what do I know? I can't expect much from the Jets. I am going under this total. I don't know. 20-13. 17-10. Something like that. Panthers win. Panthers cover. Under 42.5. Next game we have the Saints in Chicago taking on the Bears. The Bears, with their impressive win, apparently lends them now to being 5.5 point favorites here. And total of 46.5. Now listen. Chicago, 3-game win streak. They're looking good. Ben Johnson kind of figuring out. Caleb Williams is existing. DeAndre Swift looked like a reliable guy. So, hey, it helped me get a 200-point fantasy performance in one of the Dynasty Leagues. So, you take it where you can. New Orleans, they're feisty. They're competitive. Just don't have the pieces. And I got to imagine within the next week or two, fire sale is coming. Chris Olave is going to be gone. Alvin Kamara is going to be gone. Maybe a lineman at this one will be gone. Cameron Jordan. I got to imagine some of these pieces are going to be gone here. If not by the end of this week, sometime next week. I got to imagine that fire sale's coming. Either way, Chicago has better momentum, so I'm going to give the Bears the win here. But 5.5 is an insane spread to give Chicago, considering that I'm pretty. What was it? I don't remember if they were favored or the underdogs against the Raiders, but they've won their last 2 games by 1 point. And not to say that the Saints are in the same stratosphere as DC, or we can debate about the Vegas, but all in all, the Saints team is fighting. The Saints team is existing. Outside of the Seattle game, they've been right there in all these games. And because I'm still doubtful and skeptical on Chicago, I'd rather give my 5.5 to New Orleans here. I'd much rather do that. Chicago hasn't, even when they're favorites, hasn't proven to cover a spread. And the Saints team is feisty. It is not impossible in my mind for the Saints to win this game. It is not impossible for them to go into Chicago and pull this off. It's not. So, like, 5.5. Give me New Orleans plus 5.5. I can't imagine Chicago, like winning by a touchdown. So I'm just gonna roll with that. Yeah, Chicago to win, but New Orleans covers 5.5. Again, I would not be surprised if New Orleans took this game. Total against the 46.5. Chicago. If this was 44, maybe 46.5. I don't know. I'm gonna go under. I think it's close. I think it's interesting and competitive. I think there are more offensive duds in this game than, like defenses making actual good plays. But I think it's enough that it keeps things low scoring, which, yes, Bears have gone close to 50 in back-to-back games. But there was also a bye week in between, so take what you will on that. And they're coming off a Monday game, so less day of rest. Yeah, we're going under. Chicago win, Saints to cover 5.5, under 46.5. Next game on the list, we have the Raiders going to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. I don't care what happened. The Raiders are ass, but Tennessee is more ass. That was a battle of ass, not the good ass, and the more ass team lost, as we all expected. Or I expected. A lot of people in the Cat Quag, Clay, and Dog apparently thought Tennessee would win that game. So who knows, but I think that exact result happened. I don't think there's anything to talk about. Chiefs seem to have figured out their offense for the most part, and they're going to get Rashid Rice back this week. I'm not thinking twice. I'm taking Kansas City win that game. Spread in the game is 11.5, and I'm still sitting here wondering, should I be taking the double-digit spread thing seriously? Should I be? I'm going to say no, because Geno Smith has looked like hot garbage, and I don't think there's any reason to take it seriously. So, yeah, I hate it, but I will lay the 11.5 on Kansas City. Totals at 45.5. I mean, if they can put up 30 on the Lions, they can put up 30 on the Raiders, right? Can the Raiders give me 15? 16? Not impossible, right? Not impossible. I'll trust my gut. Give me the over 45.5 on this game. Chiefs win, Chiefs cover, 11.5. We're going over 45.5. 33-13. That gets you to 46 still. Next game on the list, New England is in Tennessee taking on the Titans. Patriots are 7-point favorites, and the total's at 41.5. Now, the only reason I'm not, jumping immediately to make the pick that we all are realistically thinking of picking, there is something, not all the time, but there is something when a team fires a coach and then they get a new interim guy in, and all of a sudden there's a juice to want to play for him because, he's been thrust into this power, and presumably everyone's going to like him more than the old coach, because you don't fire a coach mid-season that people like. So I imagine there'll be a little more juice, a little more freedom, a little more motivation for this game. And of course, with Mike Vrabel coming to town, it's, that's our old coach. We want to show him up. We want to show him what we got, or show him what we're made of, blah, blah, blah. So that's my hesitancy. I mean, but at the end of the day, I don't think there's a necessarily strong argument for Tennessee to beat New England. So I'm going to take the Patriots to win. On the line, full touchdown favorite. I'm hesitant here. I am hesitant. But if push comes to shove, I think I'm going to lean on New England being able to cover that. Struggle against New Orleans, but we're expecting New Orleans to always be feisty. Tennessee with the new head coach could prove to be interesting, but ultimately I think they're still a few tiers below this Patriots team. Total of 41.5. I mean, if they can blow out Carolina, I don't see why they can't blow out Tennessee. So I'm going to assume I think that want to happen. Give me the over 41.5. I'm expecting most of that to be New England, but maybe Tennessee with that spark of freedom, maybe they find some points for themselves. So yeah, New England wins, covered -7. We're going over 41.5. Next game, oh boy, we have Miami in Cleveland taking on the Browns. Both 1-5 teams, both with head coaches on the hot seat, both with quarterbacks that we don't really know what to feel at this point. Again, I'm willing to give Dylan Gabriel benefit of the doubt. I'm biased, obviously. But I don't know what you're expecting him to do when he has to throw 50 times and you don't run the ball at all. But now it's Miami, so you should be able to run the ball a lot easier. But then again, it's... do we have much of anything to go off of? Who knows for certain. The only thing I can say for real is, while I don't feel comfortable making either of these teams a betting favorite, I really don't like the idea of Cleveland being a betting favorite team right now. So when you're in a battle between shit and shit, as Justin says, take the dog. So for that, I'm taking Miami to win this game. It's one of those, like, I don't want to, but clearly they can put up a fight against the Chargers, who granted have no tackles, but they can literally put up a fight and score some points. I can imagine them doing the same thing here in Cleveland. Because I just don't believe in Cleveland. And that defense is going to get tired eventually. Give me Miami, goes into Cleveland, beat the Browns. I'll take the +2.5. This is less about who I think is a better team and more of I don't feel comfortable giving Cleveland 2.5. And if it was Miami 2.5, I'd probably still lean Miami either way. But if we got anything like above 3.5, 4.5, I'm taking Cleveland to cover that. It's going to be a shit show upon a shit show, and I wouldn't be surprised if this final score is like 9-6. I would not be surprised. So that said, 39.5, I can't. And I mean, even if you don't want to, it's just imagining where these points are going to come from. Cleveland can surprise Minnesota with a switch quarterback, but now I need time to prepare. And I just saw Miami put up 20 plus on the Chargers defense, who I imagine we're supposed to think is good. I'm not sure entirely myself, but we're expecting them that. So yeah, give me Miami, give me the +2.5 for them, and go under their 9.5. Like I said, I would not be shocked if this was a 9-6 game. But realistically, because I trust Miami's offense more, and maybe this is their last time to advertise Jalen Waddle before they end up trading him. Because again, Miami might be on a fire sale season, so look for Jalen Waddle to be interesting in this game. And roll with it. Maybe we can even get to like 13-10. I don't imagine a lot of points being scored here. Next game on the list, we have the Giants in Denver taking on the Broncos. Broncos once again 7-point favorites. And the total is a crisp 40.5. Now, even if you didn't have that dud against the Jets, there is an aura with this Giants team that I don't know if I want to lay 7. Now, there's also aura going in favor of Denver, because I believe this game they're inducting Demaryius Thomas to the Ring of Honor, so you know the vibe and the emotions are going to be very high. We all send our love and prayers to DT and his family, for sure. So Denver fans are going to be up, and I gotta imagine all the players will be as well. But ultimately, that performance against the Jets kind of did prove to me that I don't know if I want to lay that line. I'll say this. I like Denver. Again, emotions high. Denver's feeling good. And maybe they'll want to make up for that performance against the Jets. So I'm taking Denver to win the game. But because I respect New York, because I respect Dart, Scadaboo, Wandale, and everyone else, I'm taking New York +7. I think this more becomes Denver's offensive line and Bo Nix's inconsistency is going up against Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter. Like, again, the scary front four against Denver, whose O-line, inconsistent, but decent, and Bo Nix, who we're still uncertain where he is at the quarterback level. So, give me the +7 on that. Totals at 40.5. Denver's defense is really good. It's just how much do I expect from Denver's offense? Can I get to 21? I don't think it's impossible for Denver, even though they struggled against the Jets. Ooh. I'm gonna go under, especially since I'm thinking the Giants are gonna keep it close. Giants' best way to keep it close is to also make it a low-scoring affair. So I think the defense puts in the work, and offense does enough to make things interesting. A very clean, a very interesting 17-14, 17-16, 20-17, something like that. I think it's close. I think New York puts up a fight, but I think Denver's defense does enough that they can cool it and they can score enough on offense to get away. It's going to be an escape win. They're going to escape with another win. That's how I see it. Next game on the list, most interesting game of the week probably, or one of the most interesting. Colts are traveling to LA to take on the Chargers. Chargers holding on to a fair 1.5 point favorite and a 40.5 total. Now, we're at a point now where it's like you can't just like, oh, they got lucky, oh, they got lucky, oh, they got lucky. It's Indy has an offense, and the defense, when it's there, it's there. Now, this is a game, again, you shrug it off. Everyone was expecting Kyler. Jacoby was kind of a last-minute start. Jacoby plays with a certain motivation behind him. So, again, Colts did what they needed to do to get out with a win. Don't hold on too much to that final score because, again, they weren't preparing for Jacoby. So, Jacoby had a moment, it's like, I'm going to lay it all out. I'm going to do my thing. And that's it. So, and then the Chargers, they're just getting injured, man. Lost 2 running backs. They have, nobody on that offensive line. Khalil Mack's gone. They had to trade for Odafe Owe, of all people. I think that with the injuries, you can escape Miami, but I don't think you can escape Indy. With the way Indy is playing on all 3 phases, I just don't think the Chargers O-line is going to be able to keep up. I think the injuries cost him this game. Herbert's going to try his best. I don't think Herbert will have a bad game at all. I think Herbert will, be Justin Herbert. But I think the injuries just catch up. I'm taking the Colts to win this game. Makes sense that they're the underdog by just the slimmest of margins. But I just think LA's too injured. I just think they're way too injured. That's hard to see them, continue or go on that streak. If LA wins this game, then, more credit to Herbert and that defense, obviously, but no O-lines. Vidal we like, but we don't know how consistent he can be. It's tricky. And again, it's for those reasons as well that if this game does end up into a shootout, I don't know how much Herbert can do. Again, this is not Miami, where Tua's gift-wrapping you a couple of picks, and Miami's defense is not existent. This is Indy. This is I want to say they're still top 5 in both offense and defense. You're not going to be able to get away with as much as you did with Miami. So at 48.5, I'm taking the under in this game. I just don't think LA can do enough. Can Indy score 40? I mean, they've done it a couple of times already, so there's no reason why they can't keep doing it. But I respect the Chargers' defense enough that I don't think Indy's going to need 40. Or going to have a chance to get to 40. But the Chargers' defense is the Chargers' offensive line injuries is what ultimately keeps them from having as productive an offense as the Colts. So give me the Colts to win in the upset, plus 1.5 for Indy, and we're going to go under 48.5. Again, both teams can probably score enough points, like a 24-20, 27-20, 24-21. Like, these games, those kind of scores are very possible here. I just don't think LA can keep up. Not with those injuries. So yeah, Indy to win, cover, under 48.5. Next game on my list is the Packers in Arizona, taking on the Cardinals. Green Bay is a crisp 6.5 point favorite, another high spread for them, and the total is 44.5. Again, I go back to the New England thing. Like, your obvious answer is, oh, Green Bay to win, Green Bay to cover. Green Bay has not been covering spreads. They just haven't. And I'm also looking at Arizona. It's like, what Arizona team am I going to get? Are we getting Kyler back, or is it going to be Jacoby again? I don't know how to grade this. Because if it's Jacoby, I won't be surprised if it's a 3-point game. So that 6.5 spread means something. But if it's Kyler, you would expect him being better, but we don't know how much. It's hard to predict. It's hard to visualize how this game will look, especially since we're not 100% sure which quarterback's going to play. And yes, while Green Bay is winning, there is a lot of frustration and struggle. Like, you should be better than this. You should not be getting into dogfights with Cincy. You should not be in a low-scoring affair with Cincy. So what are we doing? But I think either way, Kyler, with your inconsistencies, who knows? And Jacoby, there's now at least a week's worth of game film to study you, so you're not going to take Green Bay by surprise. I think, regardless who starts, Green Bay's the better team. They're finding their lumps. It's not the prettiest, but Green Bay is the better team, so I'm going to take the Packers to win. I hate that 6.5, but again, I'd rather just fall on them being the better team than Arizona expecting them to make things competitive and interesting. So yeah, give me Green Bay, give me the 6.5, even though they don't cover spreads. Again, I would not put this on my betting parlay personally because, again, they just haven't done it. But I'm going to pick it for the sake of picking for this video. And then you have your total at 44.5. I think regardless who pops up, I think there's enough to be done that can get this over. Green Bay, they kind of struggle with it, but they do get their points eventually. And Arizona, it's so hard to judge, again, because I haven't looked it up. I don't know if Kyle's going to be back or if it's going to be Jacoby. Green Bay's supposed to have this elite defense, but oftentimes, there goes a touchdown here or there that you're wondering how they got there. Give me the over. I'll take my chances with the over. Green Bay, realistically, Green Bay should be able to put up 30, no problem. And if I close my eyes hard enough, I can see Arizona getting 17, either with Kyler or Jacoby. So, 30-17, covers the spread, goes over. It's possible. It's very possible. So that's what I'm going to roll with. I would not be surprised if Arizona covers the spread. Because, like I said, Green Bay is not covering spreads. 4 more games to go. Making good time. It's about to turn 4 a.m. right now for me. Next game we have, one more afternoon game. We have the Commanders in Dallas taking on the Cowboys. DC as the road team is a 1.5 favorite. And because I guess Dallas defense sucks that bad, the total is a very high 54.5. And I'm just going to tell you right now, yes, Dallas defense is ass. That's too many points for me. Especially since I got burned last week on Kansas City and Detroit not getting into 50. So, Dallas, I like your defense. Dallas, I like your offense, but your defense is trash. But, Washington, you've been kind of inconsistent too. And this is a divisional game, so statistical differences doesn't really mean much here. But if you force me to pick, I'm going to tell you Washington's a better team, so I'm taking Washington to go to Dallas, win that game, cover the 1.5. I haven't heard any word on CD. There was talks about him possibly being back last week, but they chose to hold him out. So is he going to be back this week? I don't know. Either way, I don't think it matters because Dallas has no defense. So I think if it has to turn into a shootout, Washington can do enough. But I just don't see it getting there. DC 30 to 23, 27-24. It scores points, but 54.5 is way too much for me. I can't do it with these two teams. Sunday Night Football, because that's what I need. More Atlanta Falcons in my primetime games. This is what, their third primetime game in 7 weeks now? I don't know who thought they deserved this many this early, but hey. Just like with the W, they don't pay me to make the schedule. But they fucking should, because I would make a great schedule. If you're going to do niche primetime games, you got to at least have a storyline. Atlanta didn't do enough last year to, oh, here's the 49ers, who, when healthy, we expect them to be a Super Bowl contender. This is the game you put on Monday night. What do I know? But again, yeah, congrats to Atlanta for getting that win against Buffalo. Not many people expected it, but hey, you did it. You shut down that offense. Give credit where credit is due. San Fran's entered to hell and back, so this should be a layup for you two, right? That requires me to trust the Falcons. And Chris Carter, if you ever see this, I don't trust the Falcons. It wasn't too long ago they lost 30-0 against the Panthers, who, I mean, right now maybe they're better than we give them credit for, but I'm not there yet with them either. And if I'm not there with them, I can't be there with you. So even if it is Mac Jones throwing to Kendrick Bourne and somehow Christian McCaffrey still being alive, I'd rather put my money on the Niners here. They made the Tampa game interesting. Granted, Tampa had no receivers, so that's probably why, but I'm taking San Fran. They're favored by 1.5. I'll take that 1.5. Put it this way, I trust Kyle Shanahan more than anyone else that's going to be there in Santa Clara for the Sunday night game. And I was curious. I was looking up future Sunday night because if you follow me on Twitter long enough, you know one of my favorite things to do is look ahead and see what Sunday night game could be flexed out for a different one. Realistically, you can't flex out any of these ones. And, I mean, I think week 10, we have Patriots and Bucks, which obviously everyone is going to be really invested in that. Can't flex that into Sunday. Patriots play the week 11 Thursday night game. Can't flex that. So, it's one of those where it's like, it's definitely interesting enough games. And of course, the week 8 Thursday night, or the week 8 Sunday night game, storylines galore. It's Pittsburgh and Green Bay. Of course, Aaron Rodgers against the Packers. Storylines galore. They're not going to throw that out, no matter how bad the teams are. Luckily for them, both teams are actually good, so lucky them. But yeah, San Fran defeated the Falcons, cover the 1.5, 46.5 points. If Atlanta's defense does that, then yeah, I'm willing to give them credit. San Fran, I don't know what I can do with their defense because Bosa's gone. Fred Warner's now gone for the year. Who the fuck left is on that defense? I don't know, but Atlanta seems to be very more ball, or the rushing attack, ground control, blah, blah, blah. So for that, 46.5, little too much. I'm taking the under here. I mean, hell, we saw Atlanta in Minnesota in week 2. Granted, yes, from week 2 to week 7, they're different teams. They're figuring shit out. But they had to kick, 5 or 6 field goals in that game? So, and then, again, against Buffalo, you only put up 24. Thank God your defense limited to 14. But Atlanta themselves just, in general, feels like low-scoring games. I can't remember all their games off the top of my head, but I don't think they've had many, high-scoring games. And with an injured and beat-up San Fran team, yeah, give me the under. San Fran wins 23-20, 24-21. Could y'all see that? I think that's possible. or even be more impressive and go 27-17. That's possible. I wouldn't rule out Atlanta winning this game, but that requires me to have faith in them, to trust them, and win back-to-back primetime games. Which I'm just not there yet. Another 2 set of Monday night games, so they're not as special now because one plays after the other. Although, again, I think this one they actually have it scheduled, so, Tampa and Detroit are 7 o'clock, and then Houston and Seattle doesn't start till 10, which good for the West Coast people who have to wait till only 7 or 8 to watch that game. Fuck you to the East Coast people. I stay up late anyway, so it doesn't matter for me, but fuck the East Coast people if they wanted to see that game. Can't imagine many would, but whatever. But let's get the first one out of the way. Tampa's in Detroit. The Lions are favored by 5.5, and the total's at 52.5. They're expecting another high-scoring game, and who wouldn't? Tampa's defense is injured, Detroit's defense is injured, and the one guy in Detroit's secondary who could do anything worth a damn decided, I want to punch Juju Smith-Schuster in the face for shits and giggles. So he's suspended. Can't play in this game. So Detroit has no secondary. Tampa has no defense. But lucky for Detroit, Tampa's got no receivers either. Mike Evans, probably not going to play. Chris Godwin, probably not going to play. Emeka, a hamstring. They're being cautious. Probably not going to play. So it's Baker, still without Bucky Irving, mind you, throwing to Cameron Johnson, Shirley Shepard, and Oregon legend Tez Johnson. So I look at this and it's like, can they get to 52.5? Yes, they can. But how consistent are those Tampa receivers going to be? What is Detroit going to give us overall? And are all these defensive injuries going to make it so that everyone can pretty much do whatever they want? Who knows for certain? But if I know anything about these two teams that we've been given at this point, Tampa's on a mission. Tampa is on a mission. So I'm inclined here. I'm not officially making it yet, but I'm very inclined to take Tampa to win this game. Either way, Detroit laying 5.5. Again, I get that Tampa's got no receivers at this point, but Baker still put up 30 with these guys. So where's this 5.5 coming from a Lions team who, I'm not gonna say nothing, that was illegal motion or whatever the penalty was. That penalty on that fourth down is a penalty. You cannot be under center and then motion out to be a receiver. If a quarterback wants to be a receiver in the play, he has to be in shotgun. That is the rule. And if someone brings up the Philly special, he was in shotgun, and when he walked up, he tapped on like the guard or something, and then he paused for a second, which is what they brought up on the broadcast. You gotta pause for that second. Nick Foles was in shotgun, walked over, paused for a second, and then they threw him the ball. Snapped and threw the ball. Jared Goff did not do that. He was under center, and then ran out, didn't get set, and they threw the ball. So yes, that penalty was correct. Other penalties for the Chiefs, or lack of penalties for the Chiefs, we can talk about a different time. But I don't know what I'm gonna get from Detroit. Or what defensive pieces outside of Aiden Hutchinson and Alex Anzalone is gonna stop Tez Johnson, Sterling Shepard, and Cameron Johnson, that if they can have confidence to win against Tampa, or to win against San Francisco. I like Tampa. I think Tampa's a better team. Detroit might be a little more feisty because, they lost to Kansas City, and now they're going to get a whole extra day to rest on it. I like Tampa here. I really do. And even if you don't like Tampa, I love that plus 5.5. Tampa has seemed to have gotten the better of Detroit the last couple of years anyway. I just think Tampa's the better team here. I just do. So give me that plus 5.5 for sure. 52.5 on the totals. Do I think they can get to 52? Based on defensive injuries, they should. It just more comes down to, since I think Tampa's going to win, how high can Tampa go? With an already injured secondary and no Brian Branch because of a suspension, can he, with these backup receivers, put up 30, put up 35, put up 40. Can they get there? And I don't know. I think if you had Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Emeka Nabuka, he could probably put up 40 no problem. But they're missing them. And they're also missing their linemen. So what's Aiden Hutchinson going to do? And Detroit burned me last time at least on the over because Dan Campbell got too aggressive on those fourth downs. We like them when they work, but when they don't work, they look bad. And like I said, the defense at the time wasn't perfect, but they were starting with something. So at least make them travel, make Mahomes travel the field if you're gonna. I don't know. I think they will. I think 30-24, 27-24 won't get you there, but like, I think it's very possible for both these teams to eclipse 24, and then it comes down to just who needs to win it. If the game ends 27-24, I will be upset, but I think given the defensive injuries, these two teams should find a way to put up points. And the last game we have the Texans and Seattle taking on the Seahawks. Seattle's a 3.5 point favorite and totals at a 40.5. CJ, I want to see more. I want to believe more. But we're just not there. And Seattle, I'm not going to call you contenders, but I'm going to say you're interesting. And Sam Darnold, once again, I can't hate on you. Like, you're doing enough. I can look at Seattle and be like, you're not going to hold them back. At least for now. We'll see where we are in Week 18 when there's a tiebreaker you need to settle to win a division or something. But for now, I can't hold it against you. So, because I trust Seattle as a team more, I'm going to take the Seahawks to win the game. Line is at 3.5. I think Houston's a little desperate, and I think this game could get interesting. So because of that, I will give Houston plus 3.5. I think this game will be close. I think this game will be interesting. I think Houston's desperation puts them in play to go into Seattle and win this game. And just weird statistics for weird statistics' sake. For whatever reason, Seattle's a better road team. At least under the Mike McDonald. They're a better road team than they're a home team. So, we'll see how that unfolds on Monday night, but I think it's a close game. So give me Seattle to win, Houston to cover. 40.5. Both teams got good defenses. Seattle's got a great defense. Houston's got a great defense. Houston has no O-line. Connect the dots. I'm taking the under. Although 40.5 is really low, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was like a 21-20 game. Just pinches on the over. But I'm gonna take the under. I think 20-14, 20-17, 23-17. I think those are in the cards for this. Yeah. All right, let's go over everything on my board. We got Pittsburgh going into Cincinnati and winning that game, but the Bengals covering plus 5.5 and under 44.5. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars winning the London game against the Rams, plus 3 for them, and under 44.5. We have Philadelphia going into Minnesota, winning that game, covering 2.5, probably going to beat their ass, and over 43.5. We have Carolina as a road favorite, winning as a road favorite in New York against the Jets, and getting a win streak going. We have the Bears winning at home against the Saints, but we're going to give the Saints plus 5.5 because we respect them and they've earned the respect, and I still don't trust Chicago fully yet. And under 46.5. We'll see how dedicated New Orleans is, if that pushes the over or not. But we'll stay under. Chiefs to win and to cover a ginormous 11.5 against the Raiders because the Raiders look awful and I'm not really giving them any mind. We'll go over 45.5. We have New England winning and covering -7 in Nashville against the Titans and going over 41.5. We have Miami going into Cleveland and beating the Browns, plus 2.5 for them as the underdog of the game, at under 39.5. If you're one of those frisky gamblers who wants to bet no touchdown scored for this, for the sake of doing it for the funny, go for it. But I'm definitely putting over on whatever Waddle's prop is. Sell him high now while you can. Denver to win, but I'm giving the Giants plus 7 because I don't know what to think of Denver right now. And the Giants are funky and sparky. So yeah, we'll go under 40.5. I'm going to take the Colts going to LA to upset the Chargers, giving the Colts plus 1.5, and we'll go under 40.5. Too many points for an injured Chargers team that I don't know if they can keep up with the Colts defense. Green Bay to win and cover 6.5 in Arizona against the Cardinals, who regardless whoever starts at quarterback for the Cards, and we'll go over 44.5. We have the Commanders going into Dallas and beating Dallas, covering the 1.5, and we're going to stay under 54.5. Dallas' defense is bad, but I don't think either team has the capacity, or either team will get to that point to scoring that many points, just based on game flow. I have Sanford winning the Sunday Night Football game against the Falcons, covering minus 1.5, and staying under 46.5. Atlanta does not score a lot of points. And with the Niners injuries, they're not going to score a lot of points. I have Tampa going into Detroit and upsetting the Lions, plus 5.5. Even if you like the Lions to win, the plus 5.5 is candy to me. And so by somehow, some way of whoever is left healthy on their rosters, going over 52.5 points. And then I have Seattle winning, but Houston covering plus 3.5 on the other Monday night game, and we're going to stay under the 40.5. And those are my picks. Go over to fantasy because I did not cover that last week. Things are not looking great in the yellow way. I dropped my 4th straight to fall to 1-5. I got a matchup against Teddy this week, who I believe is 5-1. In the Ante and Co League, I finally lose a game thanks to Drake London going off on Monday night. So thanks for that. Dropping to 4-2. I'm still in the top third of the league, so we're feeling good. Got to keep up the momentum. I got a matchup against Billy, who I think is in the middle of the pack. And then the Professional Dynasty League, I pick up my 1 win of the week in there, but off to a slow start there, so I'm only now 2-4. And I got my next matchup against Chris, who I want to say is first place in that league, but I could be wrong. I need wins. LOA, I need a win desperately, or otherwise I can kiss my season goodbye before we even get to the halfway point. But with that, that's going to be all for me and my recording. We're keeping it under an hour, and that's what I like to see because, man, I am tired. That's what I get for doing these at now 4:15 in the morning. You'll love to see it. But thank you all for tuning in. Those were my picks. Make sure you follow me on my Twitter, CanadianCatCP, Instagram, Blind Canadian Cat. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I do a bit of everything. Football, fan game shit posts, games, songs, everything in between. Plenty of fun for everyone. And with that, that is all from me. I will catch you all in the next video and or stream. Choose peace, accept love, and have big trust. Good night, Internet.